Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Left of Center.
Season 3. Whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself. Season 3, episode 16.
Did you get enough sleep last night, Kev?
I did.
We're going to start off with a important story. There's going to be a press conference following Left of Center at 11 o'clock at the Hammond Police Department. I'm going to save a lot of details for the press conference. But last night was, as everybody knows, we typically pre-show before each show. And last night we were pre-showing, and we were having really a good meeting. And the entire podcast crew was there, including
Our business manager, Steve
Kellogg, who's the public information officer for the Hammond Police Department, which turns out to be good fortune because I got a phone call right in the middle of our meeting that said there was a kayaker that found a body in the Little Calumet River. And for anybody that hasn't been paying attention, we've talked about this on the show a couple of times. We've been, for the past 9 days, in a search for a young boy with autism, a 12-year-old boy named Kyron Carter, who wandered away from his parents' party towards the Little Calumet River.
From a local hotel, which,
right.
You know, if you know the area, right, you've got a very busy highway, 8094, which is probably one of the busiest highways in the country, definitely in the Midwest. And there's some hotels right along there, and then just behind the hotels is the Little Calumet River. I mean, it's within, 200 feet of the back of the hotel, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, it's real close.
Yeah, so I just want to get geography here.
Right. And this is a river. It's a murky. It's in this part where it was more like a lagoon. Like you have a river part that moves. This was, I guess, technically a river, but it was more like a lagoon. Like
all part of the
branch.
river, though. It's not like
but like it's not like fast moving at all. It's more like a still filled with water, 20-something feet deep.
Sand.
Completely disgusting. Like I was a former Navy diver. I talk about this a lot. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't see anything. Okay. And by the way, the water is not warm, which doesn't, like, these are professional divers we're talking about.
Right.
So you're dealing with, let's call it 55-degree water, which isn't horrible for a diver. Okay. And you can't see anything.
Wow.
And like we really don't know.
And these are professional police divers. This is what they do for a living.
Firemen,
right?
Police officers. There was a gentleman.
They look for people in water.
The fire chief of Porter. Okay, I wish I knew his name off the top of my head. I know we're going to talk about him later. Spent hours at the river, and this guy is renowned for like being one of the better divers in the area. I imagine if you're from Porter, you're going to be a pretty damn good diver because you got to deal with Lake Michigan and the drownings that happen there.
Yeah,
right?
and I heard the DNR, right? They had their folks out there.
Right. Yeah, the DNR was definitely out there.
Department of Natural Resources.
So anyway, we knew, and we're going to get into more details today at the press conference, but we knew approximately where the young boy went towards the river. That's it. That's all we knew.
Because of a video or because of
There's video cameras all over.
Gotcha. Okay.
The businesses thankfully, they have video cameras that on their back, and you know.
You mean the rear of the buildings?
The rear of the buildings towards the river.
The river, yeah.
Right. So we knew that Kyron went towards the river, and then that's it. But he could have done a lot of things. He could have gone in the river. He could have walked along the banks away from the camera shot. There's a lot of things he could have done at that point. Obviously, we knew also that he was attracted to water. It was obvious, and we'll get into details.
So the focus was on the river, but you weren't like foreclosing any. I think I heard you, Mayor, even yesterday at the council meeting, say that, look, you're not foreclosing any possibility. You're trying to check off the boxes, right? Like you were saying, we're trying to eliminate the possibility of kidnapping. Yesterday is what you said.
I would be lying to you if I told you that for the first week we were focused more on the river. Mm-hmm. Okay, because first off, yeah, we were pretty confident. He went towards the river. I mean, I saw 2 videos of him going towards the river, Kevin. He was sprinting towards the water. A kid with autism, I don't know if he could swim or not, but I'm telling you, going directly towards the river. And the first time they caught him and the second time, he made it up alone.
Yeah. And so at the same time, obviously, you wouldn't foreclose all possibilities. You got to keep looking, but your focus is going to be somewhere where you believe he was. Is that fair?
And we knew that he was approximately in this area.
Okay.
So the dive teams, multiple, like dozens of divers, focused, and it's really like you go down, it's super slippery and steep, and it falls off quick. It's like 6
Which is
inches.
why you warned volunteers not to go anywhere near that.
I actually saw trained firemen slipping and falling head over heels into the water. It's super slippery. And these guys are like strong, trained Navy diver, not Navy diver, excuse me, fire department divers, police department divers, sheriff divers, badasses.
First responders, these guys know.
Just badasses.
Yeah.
These guys do this, and they were like falling and slipping, and it would be like 2 feet, and then it goes to like 15 feet, like suddenly,
No
and
kidding.
it's slippery. Like, yeah, and in the middle, it was like more 20s, right?
I had no idea that river was that
Dude,
deep.
I didn't either.
That's
Okay,
crazy. Okay.
so
Interesting.
anyway, we searched along the riverbanks. We searched as far out as
For
we can
days.
go for days.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets to the point where, excuse me, it gets to the point where we're like, okay, the family is obviously going through hell. Yeah. And I was regularly talking with the family, trying to all of us were, by the way. I got Nicole Hinojosa. She's a lieutenant in the detective bureau. She's excellent. And she's so sweet and very empathetic. And she was working real close with the family.
Who I think
I'm a police officer, by the way.
You mentioned, Mayor, last week that, and you kind of basically a little bit berated folks on social media. Like, look, I've talked to this family. Of course they're hopeful, and anything that could come out. I mean, you were very clear about that.
They're grasping it.
And why wouldn't you?
The last place they want us to find their kid is in the river.
Sure.
They are hoping, this is so perverse, they're hoping their kid got kidnapped.
Sure, because then at least he's alive.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So, and they were like, so during the week, I don't remember the days, they were like, Mayor, look at this. There's a thing on Facebook. It said they saw my kid. He got kidnapped. He's here. And we're just like, because we know things that they don't know. We know that we saw another video from another business that showed him going towards the river. We didn't really share that publicly, okay? So after like a week of not finding him in the water, though, we're like, they're never going to find him because we got these incredible divers.
Well, and he could have floated downstream.
He could have floated downstream.
He
could be in Lake Michigan.
He could have been out of the river.
He could be in Lake Michigan right now. Or he could have walked 2 miles down and drowned in another part. Who knows? We know he went down here on foot. He could have walked for 5 miles.
Right.
Who knows, right? So it gets to the point where I'm talking to the chief, and we're like, of course, we're not calling the search off. We're gonna find this young man.
I mean, in every
alive,
resource.
hopefully. If he got kidnapped, we're gonna find who kidnapped him, and if he didn't make it, we're gonna find the body. Like, we're determined. Chief Short, Chief Long,
the sheriff,
myself, the Lake County Sheriff was flying helicopters low. It was like Vietnam. Like, we had helicopters flying right over our heads, going up and down the river. It was like people on horseback, hundreds of
volunteers,
people, horseback volunteers going
ATVs,
through the water.
I saw a video of.
So. And by the way, there's a picture in this morning's paper in the Post Tribune with a picture of the river. Okay, this is incredible. By the way, the river where we found the body last night. The picture showed it. I don't know when it was taken. It was a Jerry David's column in the Post Tribune. I don't know where that was taken, but that picture. I was like, that's exactly where the body was. But you can't see it in the picture because the water is 5 feet higher.
Yeah, well, go ahead and explain that. How did, obviously there was something happened where you were able to view a lot more of the river recently.
The Little Calumet River Basin Authority. Before we get into this, you want to do, we'll do our commercials real quick and we'll come back? Or
sure.
do you want to just cut this into one segment? Or
whatever you want to do. I mean, it's a
why don't we have Lindsay?
information.
Why don't we have a lot of people watching right now. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and do your thing, and then we'll come back when Lindsay gets
and we'll
done.
talk about why the river.
We don't need to do commercials. We'll just have Lindsay do her segment.
Why the river receded and what happened next.
It's a hell of a way to follow, or hell of a thing to follow with the spiel. All right, you're listening to Left of Center, where we cover everything from politics to important events of the day in the Midwest and the nation, all while having some fun while doing it. If you can't get enough of us, you can follow us on Facebook at Left of Center Podcast or on Twitter at LOCPOD, LOCPOD. And if you can't listen in live, you can always download our episodes from the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio apps. Just search Left of Center and look for our red and blue logo. Also, don't forget to subscribe and rate on every single one of those applications, please. And if you would like to start an ad subscription or a service, if you would like to advertise on our podcast, you can send an email at steve@locpod.com. That is Steve, STEVE, at locpod, LOCPOD.com.
Thanks, Lindsay. All right, so Mayor, just getting back to where we were, you were discussing before our break there about the continued search for Karen Carter and the efforts that were made prior to about last Friday. I think on last Friday, you were just about to talk about Dan Repay and the Little Calumet River Basin Commission and how that was a critical moment in this investigation.
It's why we found it was an idea that Dan Repay came up with. And I know the Hammond engineer, Dean Button, was also part of the decision making on this. But they said, hey, we could lower the lake level or the water level. in the river.
In other words, would that help, right?
Would that help? And we're like, yeah, that would help tremendously because this thing is huge and deep and murky. And I didn't even know you could do that. So, like, thank you, Dan. That's an amazing idea. So the Little Calumet River Basin Authority was instrumental. Dan Repay was instrumental in helping us find this young man. So all I know is about Sunday, they're like, okay, the water level should be going down now. And we literally, like, had, like, 100 officers out there.
And we
like,
kind of got lucky, right, with the dry weather. Because if it was raining, you wouldn't be able to do this.
Kevin, if it was raining, it could have washed him miles away. It could have washed them into the river, into the lake.
Because that's going to create current. We know that what happens
and
from
ultimately
comes north.
Ultimately, our water ends up in Lake Michigan. Yep. So if the body goes out to Lake Michigan, we're never going to find it, right?
Yeah,
and there's no closure for the family, and this. Right. So anyway, Dan tells us on Sunday, okay, you start seeing it going down, and we literally get like hundreds of people out on the lake, in the lagoon area, and we're waiting just for this thing to go.
And it was in certain spots, right?
But not where we were.
Okay.
There was a mechanical problem. I don't know, a hydraulical problem. I'm not an engineer, but it's too high. Like it's dammed in. Like the lagoon we're in is sort of dammed up, and it's not draining as fast as we'd hoped. So we're out there, and it's literally only going down a couple inches an hour.
Slowly, right?
So it's been draining all week, and it's been a dry week, thankfully. And we've been searching and diving. And I'll be getting honest with you. We get to the point yesterday where I say, let's rule out, over the weekend, I would get together with the chiefs and we rule out kidnapping. Mm-hmm. Like we want to make sure that he's not kidnapped.
Yeah. I mean, are there pressures on you and on the police when, you're 8 days in, 7 days in, you haven't been able to find a body, you haven't been able to find the kid. Kieran's still out there. His family is restless. They're hopeful. You've probably got other people coming in from
angry,
sure,
frustrated.
All kinds of I mean, that's tough. It's tough on the police, tough on you, and tough on everybody.
So how about this?
And the family,
to answer you accurately, I get a question from a member of the media last week in a scrum. There's a bunch of them there. Mayor Reverend Jackson says that in the Rainbow Push says that they're going to get involved in this whole issue and that you guys aren't working very hard, and it's because the kid is an African-American kid. You guys aren't as motivated.
It sounds like
I'm like,
rational.
I'm looking at him like, are you freaking serious? Yeah, I go, look around. I go, look around right now. It was like over the weekend. Sure. It was a weekend. I'm like, look around right now. There's people swimming in the river. There's people on horseback. There's people walking around. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, no, I'm just backing. I just pointing out to you what I'm hearing. And I'm like, don't hear that because that's bullshit, right?
Yeah, that had to just aggravate you.
I didn't get pissed, though. I was in like a zone. It's weird, Kevin. You've seen me like this.
Yep.
When I'm focused. Under fire, I'm totally like in the zone. I was in the zone that day because I would have normally been
That's aggravating, though, because I think
it's aggravating. We're busting our ass. Do you think for a second we're thinking about what color this young man is?
Well, not only that.
We're busting our ass to try to find him.
Look at the people that are out there helping. They're every color and...
It's like, exactly.
It's a kid. It's a 12-year-old kid.
And all I know, that could have been hearsay. That could have just been this reporter trying to make me angry, which he succeeded, but at least I was in the zone, right? So anyway, going back to lowering the water level. Last night, I'm at pre-show with the group. We're talking about the state of affairs in our podcast. It was a really good meeting. We were having a good time. My phone rings.
Arguable.
My phone rings, and it's Paul Goddard. Region news source.
Former sponsor.
He is. I consider him a sponsor. He's definitely a friend of the show. He's
without a doubt.
I'm sure he's listening right now.
One of the best sources for news locally, for sure.
Yeah, Gabe Lindsay a sweatshirt.
Paul is on.
I bought that sweatshirt.
So anyway, Paul is on a kayak. A good friend of his is on a kayak, and they positively identify a body in the water. So we get called, and I wouldn't be lying to you if I told you we haven't heard this before. Okay, multiple times people have gone in the water thinking that they found a body, and it turns out to be
a barrel or
a barrel or whatever,
bucket, right.
or one time was a couch that they stepped on the couch in the water and they thought it was a body.
Sure.
Like, we've gone through this drill before, so I immediately leave dinner and stuck Kevin with the bill, which was very smooth. You have to admit, John, that was a good move, right?
That was a great move.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
John didn't lift a finger. Just
we
FYI.
Appreciate.
Thank you, Linz. I'm glad you ordered the expensive salmon salad, by the way.
That was not expensive. You the one who got the ribeye.
I did get a ribeye. I intended to pay for it.
That
for
was
the record.
$35.
It was no problem.
So anyway,
my pleasure.
So anyway, I just bolt out of there because we've been waiting for this call.
Yeah, and it was like you said. It was lucky Steve was with you.
Steve was with me.
Steve's the public. Also happens to be the public information officer of the Hammond PD. he's been one of the faces of this investigation and search on
sure.
TV. So
Steve and I are bolting to the scene, and it's the daylight's going away, and I want to get there before the sun goes down. So I was flying as fast as I've driven in a long time.
Maybe fortunate that it was in the evening, because like the volunteers probably were, like a lot of the civilian volunteers are gone, right?
I'll be honest with you. Like when I got there, you could see something. I talked to the kayaker, and I'm like, dude, are you serious? Because like everybody's on their way right now. They put it out over the open call at 911.
Oh, boy.
Super awesome thinking on their part. Everybody on our side is like, don't put this over the air. Just call people by cell phone. Let's say we don't want everybody and their mom showing up.
Of course.
It goes out over the air like
smart.
Dumbasses. So like everybody in the region that listens to the scanner, and there's lots of them, it knows that there's a body that's been found in the river. So everybody's coming. I'm talking to press.
Wow.
I'm talking like
So
the
how
public.
do you secure the scene?
Well, that's the first thing we did. It was smart. The police department like basically locked down the Best Western parking lot and locked down New Jersey, which is where we stationed. We stationed at New Jersey, which most members of the public wouldn't do that.
Right.
We stationed at the end of New Jersey, but they locked that block down also.
So no access to anybody.
And we didn't know for sure but the kayaker, I go up, I'm like, dude, are you sure? And he's like, Mayor, I'm positive.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I believe this guy. He was in a kayak out there, and he's positive. He's like, I saw a face, I saw a head. It's like, okay.
That's hard.
So from the banks, you could see something sticking out of the water.
Sure.
It looked like something, but it could have been anything. And
now,
by the
this
way,
is because the
sun's
water
going
had
down.
receded,
Yes.
even additionally, right?
Kevin, let me tell you, 5 or 6 feet by this point.
From where you originally
You could
saw
see
the
it
water.
because you could see like the high water mark on the
Okay.
edge. And it's gone down a lot. Like a lot. Maybe, I don't know if it hit suddenly, all of a sudden it like had a breakthrough. But I had called Repay, Dan Repay, and said thank you. Like without your help, we wouldn't. This kid may be out there for months.
Right.
So you could see there's something. And by the way, like the water level's audibly going down, and you could see something's like coming out, and it's not moving. Okay,
That's hard.
and the Hammond Police Department has a lot of really great tools. That's one thing we pride ourselves on. The Hammond Police Department has got great tools.
Well equipped.
Very well equipped.
They got it. Some would call them toys, but these things are great. Let me tell you something about a drone. It is money in the bank for a police department. Oh my goodness. Like to see what they could do with this thing. Because now by the time like we're assembling a dive team, but that's ours.
What about the family? Are they, how do you?
The family like knows something's up, and we're being careful.
Sure.
We don't want to, we've been through this drill.
Right.
And by the way, so is the family.
You have to be certain. Right.
The family's gone through this drill. They see us all like getting serious and pushing people away from the riverbank, and then it's like, oh, it's a bag. It's like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's an emotional roller coaster.
yeah,
right?
dude, and we don't want to like excite them if it's going to turn out to be something that, you know, a dead fish. Who knows? Like, right? So
Were they on site, Tom?
they were
last
on
night?
site pretty much
Have
continuously.
they
gone.
stayed
that's terrible.
in the area?
In the hotel. They
They've
were
just
on
been
site
there.
continuously.
Wow.
All right.
Oh,
The hotel up, I think the hotel put them up for free,
Sure.
which is wonderful, obviously.
Yeah, thanks to Best Western for doing that.
Right.
Definitely.
But so the family is like permanently stationed there. And by the way, hundreds of volunteers are like permanently stationed there.
Yeah.
Right. So the water level's going down, and the drone, we put a drone right over the top of it, of the scene. Okay. And the drone has like a spotlight on it because it's dark out now. And I'm telling you, it's like 3 feet off the water's edge, and it's perfectly still, this drone. And it's got the spotlight just right on the object in the water.
Yep.
And it was obvious that it was a body.
So at that
it
point,
was obvious.
So at that point, when that happens, obviously the coroner's on their way out.
Well, we didn't know that until this is like, I don't know, it's dark out.
Right.
And we're like, that's definitely a body.
Okay.
And then so now we have the kayaker that said it's a body. We visually observe it's a body.
Confirmed,
To
right.
me, it looked like an African-American person, a male African-American. To me, it looks like that. You could tell by the hair and the skin tone.
color, sure.
Right. Okay. So, and that's obviously now we're starting to go check. Unfortunately, it's like, oh my goodness, this is like the worst case scenario.
Right.
And we, Steve, Nicole, Lieutenant Steve, Lieutenant Nicole, and myself always promised the family that they'd hear from us first. So we walked over there, and the father and mother, and they said, is it my boy? And we said, it's a body. We don't know if it's your boy, but it's a body. And that was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do.
I bet.
Yeah. And it was like, because you're not saying it's your boy, you know, you're saying it's a body, but like,
Right.
check, like I just did.
Right.
And I didn't tell him it looked like an African-American male. I didn't say anything like that.
You
but
know,
it's incredibly unfortunate if we find a body out there.
I guess what I would say, you know, one thing as you go through this event, and the upside to finding the body is that you found him, and it at least has some closure for the family.
Absolutely, Kevin.
Because imagine if it washed out to Lake Michigan, and then it goes on and on.
It's like
I saw him in Gary. I saw him in Highland.
That'll be happening for years.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, it's
closure.
The fact is that he probably died that very day, and right when the video saw him go on the river, and he'd been there.
I don't think he swam to where his body ended up. I think that his body floated there.
Yeah,
he got stuck.
Got stuck. Yeah,
underwater probably.
Which in the end of the day, is okay.
By the way, the FBI divers were coming out tomorrow. They were coming out tomorrow to dive it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That was one of the final acts of the river work we were doing, was we were going to bring the FBI dive team, which is heralded, as I said last night. It's one of the nation's best dive teams. This is what they do. We had actually made a deal with the FBI dive team. They were flying to the region today. We called them last night and told them.
Well, and I think the last thing I want to, unless you want to wrap up further,
no,
what I want to say is
a lot of the details. I'm
11 a.m. news conference, Hammond Police Department.
The police chief will be filling in on, because there's a lot of details that we couldn't let out during the investigation that we'll be able to talk about now.
I think one of the things I just thought was amazing, and you just reminded me when you brought up the FBI, is this was full of multiple agencies that took part in helping.
It was incredible.
Helping try to find this young man.
And not just that, like the police officers, like they were stationed like permanently out there. Mm-hmm. The people were stationed permanently. Like at 5 a.m, I would want the officers and the first responders out there combing the river first. I was like, if there's a body out there, I want to find it. I want us to find it before the public does.
I mean, you had joint local, state, federal agencies all out there.
Conservation was out there. State was out there. I mean, everybody was out there, Kevin. Yeah. It was really Jerry in his column today in the Post Tribune. Jerry Davich,
one of our former guests.
He's a friend of the show. Described it as sweet and sad at the same time. Of course, it's a tragedy, and this young boy, was attracted to water, and it's a dangerous body of water he ran towards, and it's slippery and dangerous in multiple ways. And then it's sweet because all of the outpouring of love and the people from across, the Chicagoland area, some from as far away as Iowa, coming out and helping. People with autistic children coming out and helping. Sure. I mean, it was thousands and thousands of hours poured into looking for this young man.
That's what I really like about this area, is that whenever there's something that's like a tragedy happening or something negative or even something positive, I think the people who live in this area, they are so willing to rally around one another regardless of who each of us are. And that's why I like living here. This place is nice.
As you were saying that, a number of viewers watching the live show was 219. I thought that was pretty...
219.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's our area code.
Good job.
Lindsay's got a point. We're so distracted all the time by what divides us. But look at the past week in the region with this story, with the Franciscan
on
thing.
Facebook,
that rally, people all over, coming out.
Yeah.
So...
Well, Mayor, thanks for the update.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And by the way, the press conference today at 11 o'clock with the Hammond Police Department, they're going to get into the people that help. They're going to get into the facts that we couldn't talk about publicly, and because we were taking crap for focusing on the water so much, but we had a good reason to focus on the water, so we can go through
a little more detailed of the investigation.
This was more. I talked about what happened last night, which was an incredible night, incredibly tragic, something I'll never forget. Just the emotional roller coaster from sitting with you guys at a funny dinner to an hour later being caught in a...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting window for our listeners and viewers and subscribers and raters to hear from you, the mayor, because you get to talk and tell us kind of what's going on behind the scenes, and it's always very interesting. In this case, it was tragic, but it's interesting. So, all right, folks, we're gonna do our ads. We're gonna come back because we got a lot more to talk about.
We do this every Tuesday and Friday. If you're interested, we do this every morning, Tuesday and Friday at 7:30 a.m. live. But you can listen wherever you want, and you could subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or the Spotify app by searching for Left of Center Show. We call it LOCPOD, but it's Left of Center Show. If you're interested, please follow us, subscribe to us. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you don't like us, you could just turn us off.
That's right. You can stop subscribing. Not that we want you to.
We want you to, but if you don't like us,
and we're the highest rated.
We're not always
in Belgium.
We are huge in Belgium. For those of you that are unaware, the Belgian people really have taken to LOCPOD. The Belgians, we appreciate them.
All right.
Powering America is our main sponsor, and it's a group of electricians that works hard and wires your house up the right way. If they tell you they're going to do a job, they do a job and they complete the job. They don't come to your house, start the job, and then come back 3 weeks later. These guys,
that would not be a Power in America electrician.
These men and women get the job done. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. But let me tell you more about them. Power in America is Northwest Indiana's trusted source for a trusted electrical professional. If you are a developer looking for a large-scale electrical contractor, Power in America can help take the guesswork out of finding a professional you can trust. Their select network of electrical contractors are committed to employing local electricians that have successfully completed a certified apprentice training program registered with the Indiana Department of Labor. All employees are held to a high standard of professionalism, expertise, and knowledge, and all of their contractors are licensed, bonded, and insured. If you would like more information about your electrical needs, visit Powering America today at certifiedelectrician.com.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years and can provide your business end-to-end communication solutions. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793 and tell them LOCPOD sent you.
Byway Brewery. You like beer? You like good food? Then you're going to like Byway Brewery. Byway Brewery is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious taproom and outside patio, perfect for enjoying its finely crafted ales, lagers, and chef-driven food. Brewing equipment on our production side offers a unique backdrop for your private events like bridal and baby showers, reunions, and corporate events. Conveniently located just off of 8094 and the Kennedy Avenue South exit, come by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
Hang on for a couple more ads. We're going to talk about Wuhan soon. Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. The Martinez model for success has always been responsive customer service, great tasting products with an authentic Mexican taste, and high-quality standards. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Grisolia's Concrete was voted #1 in the Times Best of the Region 2020 and specializes in all of your concrete projects. Grisolia's has been using the original cement finish in the California style since 1972 and also offers stamped and colored concrete. For more information on a project quote, call Grisolia's at 219-659-4127. That's 219-659-4127.
All right, thanks to our sponsors, and we're back on LOCPOD, Season 3, Episode 16 or something like that. John?
Yes.
Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was rough
a long
beginning,
time
right?
ago?
I'll be honest with you. I've done this show a long time, and I've never
75
heard
episodes plus.
Lindsay and John as quiet as they were for the first 25 minutes of our show.
That's
It's hard to
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. It's a tragedy. And
I didn't sleep last night.
I didn't sleep last night either. I was
3 hours of sleep.
That was funny last night though. I was trying to equate our podcast to a local band last night, and I kept using a local band, local bands start off local and then one day they go big, right? And everybody's like, oh really? And
Some do.
And I told him a story about a band that I used to follow. For those of you that do you guys like the band Sponge? Because I was
how can you not like Sponge, right?
Because everybody was like, yeah, Sponge is all right. And they were a big band in the 90s. I liked them a lot,
Sure.
right? So I was telling them about the time that Sponge played the Festival of the Lakes. I said...
When was that? A dozen years ago? 10 years ago? It had
Probably,
to be a while, right?
It was
10 years ago?
But
Right
it was way
before
after they were...
Vez started working for you guys.
Okay. So what, John, 10 years ago?
Decade.
Yeah. 10
So the band Sponge is opener for Everclear.
Yeah.
Which is a great night.
By the way,
That's a great
not
night.
bad at all.
Right?
For an early
Sponge.
fest, that's a good
For
lineup.
his fest 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Everclear, was huge.
I'd go right now to see those two.
I would totally go right now to see those two,
Let's
right?
bring them back.
So, but the thing is, I'm not going to tell you how much we paid Sponge, but we got a damn good deal. Let's just say almost like robbery. It was, I think they wanted to play more than they wanted to get paid. So Sponge shows up and they're opening for Everclear. And I'm thinking to myself, I got this band I loved and they're coming in and they're playing the fest. And the reason I brought up this story to my fellow podcasters here is these guys were the opening band. There was only a few hundred people in the audience and they freaking rocked that place. Mm-hmm. They rocked Hammond. The 300 people got the best show I've seen in a long time, especially from an opening band. They had this opening act. They have the dude on the speakers. He's twirling his microphone in the air. I'm like, this is the kind of stuff you see at the United Center. And it's to an opening act before Everclear, right? In fact, they did so well, I hung with them and drank Jack Daniels and played poker with them.
Wow.
I missed the whole concert
Don't
that
get
night,
to
right?
do that all the time
No.
with the bands.
And then right after they got done rocking the house, they broke up.
maybe they got too excited at the festival.
So
that's the analogy to our podcast.
Yeah, they didn't go anywhere. So
we're gonna go strong, hard,
rock out,
and then fizzle out.
Then we're gonna be like nothing, right? It was a bad analogy to bring up, but I was trying to make a point.
You might have your summer back.
It got quiet real quick around that table. I'll tell you what.
John's like, so what happened with Sponge? I'm like, oh, they broke up.
It was this huge pep talk. Like, it doesn't matter if we have 10 people
we're like
watching.
Sponge.
If we have 10 people watching,
You're gonna burn out hard and bright.
I'm walking out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. That dinner was fun until you had to leave.
Yeah.
John, I would say this though. It took John, I want to say, 10 minutes to order his drink.
It was embarrassing.
And I'm not kidding, because when I say 10 minutes, I'm not trying to like embellish or anything. It was the
she had to
server
come back.
came over.
Right.
John said, "Just give me a second.
I'm glad we're getting into this.
I'm looking at the drinks.
Right.
I see that there's been some changes to the drink menu.
Yes.
He's like, come on,
Can
dude.
you would you mind coming
Phil
back?
Talon would have ordered three drinks before
So
that.
you and I are just like,
Because he's an alcoholic.
boom.
Well, give me
Phil's an
vodka.
alcoholic.
Give me vodka with a lime.
Yeah,
That's
and I said, just give me whiskey on the rocks. And by the way, it took too long to get to me. I was like, wait, you just have to pour whiskey in a glass.
You mentioned that, yeah. But John, I was almost one drink in, and John was still trying to figure out what the hell he was ordering.
And then she comes back, and John's great because he's got kind of the menu. It's like one of those like placard menu that you like a placemat almost size. And he's looking at it, and he's like kind of leaning back in his chair like this with the menu like this. And he's just like, what's this banana syrup?
Okay. No.
For God's sakes, man, order a drink.
From what I understand, he made an order, but then they ran out of that order.
Thanks,
so
Lindsay. I'm waiting for these two to shut up so I can explain what really happened.
See, you need a shrill woman.
So what did really happen, John?
Just so you know, and just so the people listening know, the people listening, they had a brand new mixed drink menu. I'm going to have to look at it, okay? So I finally order the Ruby Sipper in case you want to know.
That's embarrassing enough.
He does switch his order every time we go, too. Like he doesn't
say that again, John. What was the drink?
I think it was called the Ruby Sipper.
Delicious.
So she comes back
many
minutes later and says it's sold out or whatever. So I said, boy, I'm going to have to look at this menu again. And then you guys started giving me a hard time.
Yeah, I wonder why. So, my kid's 21. He just turned 21. My son, Tommy. He would never order the drink you had last night, and he's a brand new drinker.
I will say I tried the drink that he chose. It was called the Pineapple Express, and it was actually amazing.
It was delicious.
Okay. All right, well, that tells me something.
Right, I agree.
Lindsay liked your drink, John.
Lindsay liked your drink, John.
What does that mean? I have a good taste in alcohol.
Yes,
that's
you
fine.
do.
Your
and
daughter.
you're a young lady, and you're like more detail oriented in that regard. And most men that I know are just like, give me a beer,
give
me a vodka, give me a whiskey.
It takes a real man.
I would like the banana spritz, please.
It takes a real man to order a drink that's pineapple vodka and banana syrup.
Secure.
It takes a real man.
Okay, we're on the same page.
More sugar than alcohol.
A real man.
By the way, I'm unsure of what to call Vez anymore because he wants us to call he has a nickname J-Bone, but
I don't
everybody
use that.
I don't either.
Mm-mm.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
I think it's just time to just say he's the Vez, right?
Yeah, I say
sort of like the
That's
weekend,
boring.
John.
like the weekend. The
I like
Vez.
your Christian
Well, Lindsay's
name,
the notorious LMP. She didn't really pick that.
No.
I did. I
Lindsay
said it
picked
first.
it on her own.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've
don't
never
think so.
once lobbied for anyone to call me J-Bone.
I think
Agreed. I'm with that.
I haven't.
You're like the weekend, like the Vez. It's the Vez.
Wow.
And Vez, some
Please
people
don't
shorten it and
compare
call
me
it.
to the weekend.
Why?
I just want you
The Weeknd just like won a bunch of Emmys or something like that, didn't he?
Well, he's
No, Emmys is TV.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. You say
On
potato,
we
I say
go.
potato, right? Whatever.
Speaking of John brought up this great article to me, or we were both kind of talking about this during the week.
Real men burn their brain
And this is about
cells.
Wuhan.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, we had another article
We
queued up back
forgot
here.
about this one, Kevin.
John,
About the,
I want it because I want to back this up a minute. And
Let's
by
get
the way,
into Wuhan.
after this Wuhan, we are going to get a triathlon update from the mayor, and this is very, very exciting.
Yeah, you're going to want to stick around for this.
So this article came out in the Wall Street Journal early in the week that kind of resurrected this theory that the coronavirus emanated from a lab in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And it was interesting because this Wall Street Journal, it was interesting because it was a story that kind of was twirling around in the later days of the Trump presidency, never really caught much traction in the kind of like mainstream media.
Where did
but
you
now
think
it's
that,
starting to?
Where did you think it started?
Well, I mean, I
thought it started in a lab in China.
I thought it started with.
Did you really, Tom?
Yeah, I really did.
I thought it started with. I thought I started.
love
No,
it.
but I think we have to define started, right? So like,
I assumed that it freaking leaked out of a lab in China.
right, and that's what I'm getting.
I
at.
never
So,
and it to me it has nothing to do with Trump or Democrat or Republican. It's just
Fair
like
enough.
I think most people in the world would agree it started in a lab in China.
Why
So-
didn't you chime in on the text? I sent this thread.
Because like
He was
I choose
saving
not
it
to
for today.
participate.
But John,
in, like,
here's the thing. Started.
like, we're all yelling at each
Choose not
other.
to
We're like yelling at each other by text. I'm like, I choose not to get involved. I have
Agreed.
15 other things going on.
Agreed.
I don't have time on this.
Agreed. So I guess the issue, though, is started in a lab in China. So, like, my belief, I guess where I'm at on this issue is I think it originated from animals, bats, something, that the Wuhan virology lab had that virus in the lab,
Right.
and it got out because people got sick in the
Right.
lab, and
I
it got
agree.
out. Or I don't think like they were like at the Wuhan lab, like, let it out.
Right.
Let it out
I agree
into,
with you.
into the
Oh, no.
air.
I agree with you.
And I think
it
that's
was a mistake.
John, that's where the weird conspiracy theory stuff gets in.
I think it was an accidental release.
I do too.
And
Either-
I think almost anybody in the world would agree that Wuhan was the first city that was hit. In fact, it was
sure.
the first city. If you remember, they quarantined it and they like blockaded it.
Right.
You couldn't come
Yeah.
in or out. Like
that's right.
stuff you
China
see.
did that.
Right. So like obviously, I didn't even really think that was controversial. Call me naive.
I
Who
think the
cares? By the
controversial
way, it
part
has
is people-
nothing to do with Trump or Biden or nothing. It's like, okay,
It's an
can't we
illness.
just
It
reasonably
doesn't
agree on things anymore on the left and on the right? Okay, let's all agree. It started in freaking Wuhan. Who gives a shit, right?
Right, it's there.
It's there. It
It's
started in
worldwide.
Wuhan. Blah, blah, blah. It started in
Right.
Wuhan. I'm
Right.
good. I'm a Democrat, right? I don't get it.
Well,
I don't either.
What's
I
the
think
conspiracy?
It's because I
The
think
conspiracies are saying like they intentionally let it out. I don't
Maybe-
think that's true.
I don't know.
I think the big
I
reason
don't
why
think
people
that's
are suspicious of this sudden change is because when it first started, everyone was talking about how it came from
Is it a
an
sudden
animal.
change, honey? I
It
mean,
didn't,
is
no,
it?
people were talking about how like it came from an animal in a very specific market
I think
next
it
to
did.
the water. And a lot of major
Wuhan, right?
illnesses, yeah,
Yes.
and a lot of major illnesses have come from animals
Yeah.
and exposure to animals in their feces. So like AIDS came from primates,
Right.
and Ebola came from bats.
Let me
and
jump in real quick here.
This supposedly came from bats as well.
From the wet market in Wuhan, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's any coincidence that Wuhan also has an infectious disease facility.
Sure.
So like maybe it leaked from there to the wet market and but like I don't think it's any coincidence that Wuhan studies these strains in this secure facility and then all of a sudden we have one of the diseases they're studying. That's no
I'm
that's
sure
no
just wanna
coincidence.
know
there's
how it
diseases
got
in the
out.
U.S.
I
that
agree,
are in a
Lindsay.
lab, but it's all about controlling it and whether it gets out or not. I mean,
And they
probably-
messed up, obviously.
Well,
And
yeah,
they let it out.
So there's a State Department memo that says that there were 6 illnesses out of that lab in November 2019,
Yeah.
which, by the way, time-wise is
Uh-huh.
about the right time.
And then about December, that's when they started blockading
Yeah.
it. It makes sense, right? So the Chinese messed up. Can we all agree on that?
I think we should.
Okay. John?
Where are you, John?
Yes, I'm
Good.
here. I'm starting to poll to see
We're
what
starting
the
to pull
viewers
America
think.
back together slowly here on LOCPOD.
Right here on LOCPOD. It's all
Just-
going to happen.
That's
I
right.
wanna-
We all agree. Okay, it is. I make a motion that Wuhan, China, is
John gonna
the
second it?
origination of the COVID-19
Can we have,
pandemic. Do I have a second?
Yes,
I would just
second.
like to point out
All those-
that I only have one option
Discussion?
for this poll.
Why is she's not
Discussion.
following Robert's
What's
rules
your
of order?
discussion, Lindsay?
What?
Discussion. We got a motion and a
my
second.
discussion was, I mean, we don't know where it came from.
What? Then
no,
you better vote against the
Holy
motion.
shit!
vote against it.
Look at this.
I only have one
Facebook
option
is
for
censoring
the-
us. So I put, do you think COVID leaked from a lab?
And
The only option is no. Dude, this is crazy.
John,
yo.
Listen,
do your-
don't get us knocked off the stupid air.
It's a big day for us, John.
Seriously, don't be putting some bullshit out that gets us knocked off the air. We got a motion in a second that Wuhan is the origination of COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, I
All
believe
in
that.
okay,
favor.
yes, I agree
All those in
with that.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any discussion?
I don't-
Opposed? We already did
I don't-
discussion.
I don't think that was
Over.
in
Opposed?
question here.
Case
Okay,
closed.
for-
Issue closed.
Bring it together, America. We have officially determined on LOCPOD that Wuhan, China, is the origination of COVID-19
I
pandemic.
don't
This
think
is
that was
huge.
ever
Thank
an
you.
argument, though.
It
Well,
was.
it was. We just brought America together.
No, the argument is that it comes from a lab, not from Wuhan. Like, that's where it started.
Well, we're
That's
getting
where all the
Lindsay's
first-
baby steps, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
so can I
You're
read
welcome,
this?
America.
Can I
Yes.
read this one line real quick? Just
Okay.
to wrap
But
this
But
up?
we just like solved the world's problems here.
I agree.
Okay.
So, several researchers at the lab, which is a center for the study of coronaviruses and other pathogens, became sick in autumn 2019, shortly before the outbreak, with symptoms consistent with both COVID-19 and common seasonal illness.
Right.
If there's any doubt in
Right.
anyone's mind that this was leaked from the lab, I'm not saying
no doubt in my mind.
intentionally. Come on.
Yeah, but how?
What are you?
Like, okay, I don't know if you've ever been in a facility like that, but like, how did it come out? Like,
Well, I mean, they
Are
got
the- do
sick
they
and
just
they
not
went
know
to the
what they're
sick
hospital.
and
They messed up.
no, but like
They messed
when you
up.
handle these illnesses, like you have full biohazard suits on.
Lindsay, you're assuming that. In China, who knows? I don't know
By the
whether
way,
this lab had
I
all
went to
that.
China,
I just-
right outside the Olympic Village. I saw a turd in the water. Okay, like
I mean,
they
I
don't-
saw
COVID,
that. I saw
right?
a guy pooping in the gutter in New York City. So like
That happens
San
everywhere.
Francisco,
too.
too.
So what's
San Francisco too.
That means nothing to me.
Caitlin
happens
for
everywhere.
California.com.
Hey, did your hat come in yet?
I think it did.
You think it did?
I think it did. Yeah, I just haven't.
I
opened
cannot
it
wait
yet.
for you to sport that.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the other day, I'm watching the Cubs game with Marissa,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting there, and as you know, I'm not the hugest Javi Baez fan,
You are not.
and he comes up in the
I was
freaking
watching that game.
top of the 10th
Yeah, man, I was watching it.
with the man on base, and I am talking mad shit. Like, I'm like, this guy, god damn it. 2 outs, like freaking Javi's up. I'm like, great, this game's freaking over, right? He comes up, and then the pitcher throws this hook to him, and it bounces like 3 feet in front of the plate, and Javi swings at it. And I'm like, this son of a, he is the worst, Marissa. I can't stand this guy. And Marissa's like, he's cute. I love Javi. Javi's the
Whoa.
best. And I'm like, you like
Wow.
Javi because he's cute. That's it.
I
He's
give
not a
Marissa
good.
a little more baseball than that.
And then
Her voice sounds much more appealing than that.
And then the pitcher throws a hook to Javi, and he blasts
Yeah,
it
he
out
hit
of
center
the
field
park.
in the 10th.
And then Marissa's like, ha! Like, she is laughing at me. I'm like, and I'm happy, of course, the Cubs win the game on
Yeah.
that blast, but I thought it was pretty funny timing.
It's ironic.
I was turning on the freaking.
He is swinging.
Javi
He's way
hater.
too free swinging.
I
this
can't
year.
stand him. I mean,
Way too free swinging.
Javi hater.
I am a Javi hater. I admit it.
But Marissa's got a crush on him.
Definitely.
So I guess you'll be watching more
He's a handsome
Javi.
man.
Judge Marissa is into Javi.
So, by the way, I just want to give the results of this poll.
Oh,
It is
No.
a split down the middle.
wow! America is still split. John.
50-50.
For what?
Here at LOCPOD, we're unanimous.
If COVID leaked from a Wuhan lab.
Well, that wasn't the motion. The motion was that
The
it started in
motion, if
Wuhan.
it was in, he just said
Wait,
lab
wait,
in
wait.
China. By the way,
The motion was what?
You
That
don't
it
have to
came
explain the
from
motion.
Wuhan.
You voted for
You already
it.
voted on it, John.
Yeah.
But I think you.
All right.
All right.
see, that was my issue. Is
You
that
gotta
we
play it back.
all agree
This is a
that it's
reason to
from
like and
Wuhan.
subscribe us so you
Yeah.
can listen. In
You got to play it
future.
back. You screwed up. You voted for it. It's on the record. We're moving on.
No,
All
the
right.
question is a lab in China.
So over the weekend, our resident triathlete Tom McDermott,
I've
look at-
reopened
just
the
look
poll.
at him.
Go ahead.
I'm a beast.
Decided to try to, with the help of a couple people that were on. By the way, thank you to the Hammond Port Authority.
Don't
Leon
forget to mention-
and, Dean Button.
Your better half.
My Aiden was there. We were in the canoe.
I'm talking about your better half, Jana. Who's
She was out there
running-
swimming.
Yeah, like,
Oh my god, dude!
that was gonna cost you a couple right there.
That's bad.
It's all right. Let's just move on like that never happened.
I
Jenna
didn't- I
doesn't
didn't
listen.
hear-
We're like-
I didn't even hear what you were saying. I was
I
just
said
naming
your
the people
better
that were
half,
there.
and then you're like, yeah,
I
Aiden
didn't
was
even
there
hear
with me.
that.
It's like,
Dude, I
didn't
can't
even hear
believe
that.
what I just heard.
yeah.
So I'm setting the stage here, John, of what happened, which was that it was time for the mayor and others to take a swim in the lake. First open water swim, right?
Well, no. I mean, I was in the Navy.
I'm talking about the
No,
triathlon.
for this
is the
this
training
round
of the
of
No,
triathlon.
don't say it. First open water swim, right? No, I swam in the
Well,
ocean.
First open water
Technically,
swim in the last 35 years. Is that fair?
I guess it's probably true.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I wasn't clear.
Actually,
I
I'm
scooped-
only 29,
Yeah.
and he
So
was doing
anyway.
it when I was
So,
29.
all
you.
right. So
Thank
anyway,
you,
we're out
Lindsay.
at Wolf Lake. So tell me, I mean, like, this was a big deal because
Well-
you're getting ready. The try is 2 weeks away,
Right.
and you're getting ready.
Because, like, I want to make sure I could do it. I don't want to find out
It's
on
a little
the
bit
day.
under a mile swim, by the way.
I don't
So-
want to find out on the day of Leon's triathlon that I can't make it all the way.
Any
So,
cramps.
So they put these buoys up. By the way, it's windy that morning.
dude, it was so hard.
It was hard. It was hard in the canoe with
so
Aiden.
far out there. I was like,
that was the other thing. They put the buoys out. I was like, holy shit, those are far away.
Whoa.
they were like
Oh,
forever.
he said the S word.
It was like
It was
all the
shocking.
way. It was like all the way out to the freaking toll road.
And then there was a left turn.
And then, by the way, so like against the current out to the first buoy.
Yeah.
By the time I got there, I was wiped.
So
and
Aiden
I'm
and I
like,
see that, and we're like, oh, they just got to turn around the buoy and come back.
no, we had to go in a square.
I know. It was like
so
a
we
triangle.
take a left into the current directly.
Yeah.
So we're swimming against the current out to the first buoy, which is way out there, and then you turn right into the current. I get to the second buoy. I want to like just go underwater. I just want to stop.
Yep.
And then I turn
And
left.
you're in your new wetsuit.
And then I turn left, and I'm like, at least I'm going downstream now. No. Like, how could I be swimming against the currents the
Like
whole
you
way?
always feel like you're going against.
Well,
By the way,
currents aren't straight lines. They intersect and go in squiggly lines and like they.
guess.
You know a lot about a lot of stuff,
Lindsay, like,
Lindsay.
yeah.
I spent
what?
my
You weren't
entire
even out there.
childhood
Why aren't
on-
you out there?
No,
Right.
that's just you have a large body of water, and that's how currents work. They go in all kinds of directions.
Lindsay's like a PhD
Apparently.
in BS.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was kind of a
There's the title of the
vague
episode.
comment.
PhD in BS.
Sorry, we'll just go under what
Love you
Dad
too,
thinks
babe.
at all. You know, I called him an old man right before the show started, and he's been
That
waiting to
was
get
it.
back
Yeah,
at me.
I
He got
Was it
back
good
at you.
or No, I just
He
came
went
up
right
with
at
it on
you.
the spot.
PhD and bullshit. At least I have a PhD, homie.
That's true.
What? So let me ask you this: your wetsuit. I have a question about the wetsuit. Does it help with buoyancy or not?
You look good in that wetsuit, by the
My
way.
daughter's
man.
gonna kill me.
Yeah.
The wetsuit was super buoyant. Super. So anyway, I finished the swim. I was slow as hell. My brother killed it, by the way.
Yeah. Aaron was
25
solid.
minutes.
We have a picture of Aaron.
I did like 40 minutes. Aaron did it in
He was
like
24.
25. He was like twice as fast as me, basically. Jana was real fast. She was like with Aaron, a few minutes behind. And then Chelsea and I were swimming together. Chelsea's doing a sprint, and I'm doing Olympic, right?
So do you have
John's still
confidence at this
laughing
point?
Rick Long said he
Did
has
you?
the
Hey,
same
John, did you
PhD.
put the picture of Aaron up?
No, but I will say. So I saw this picture
John's
of
not
Aaron.
producing.
I saw this picture of Aaron going around social media,
I know, right?
and he instantly reminded me of somebody in this wetsuit. So here we go. This is up right now. Chat, what do you
It
think?
is a weird look on Aaron, by the way. Aaron doesn't. He does look like Beavis, though.
Is
Is that Butthead or is that
That's
Beavis?
Butthead.
That's Butthead.
I think it's the stretching of that cap that pulls his eyebrows
Yeah, it
up.
pulls
his eyebrows
That
up.
That's
really made him
Beavis.
look.
Totally.
And the nose. Look at the nose. The nostrils are exactly Butthead.
He looks just like him.
Aaron?
Yes.
He's
It's
my
pretty
teammate.
crazy.
Don't rip my teammate.
No, your teammate's super fast
He
in the
was
water.
so fast.
Yeah.
It was like, and by the way, this is another question I had for you. How hard is it to like kind of keep on line?
Dude, I was like, that was one of the most important parts because I saw Aaron. Aaron was going
he
out
was
the wrong
like,
way.
I think he swam like 200 yards
because
extra.
he keeps his head down and just goes and he's pointing in the wrong direction.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
It's hard to
thing.
do in the water. It's hard to keep your bearing straight like that. I actually, when I was a scuba diver, I remember one story where I was diving with my badass Navy Recon Marine, and the exercise was we go out, we drop to like 50 feet below the water, and we orient. So there was like a
Wait, so what's the goal here?
So we're out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico.
this is all
during-
your dive. This is
during
like all
during
the,
dive school. There's like 10 teams of 2-man dive teams. I'm one
Okay,
of the
so 20
2-man
guys.
And then they're like, okay, everybody see that like buoy out there, right? And it's like a mile away.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have a compass on my arm, and my buddy is grabbing my arm because we're a team. And my job is to get a fix on it with my compass, and then we descend. And my whole job in life is just to keep looking at my compass. I don't
so you're
look at anything.
you're like the navigator.
I get like a fix on it. So I get a fix on it. I get a fix on my compass, and then my buddy and I descend to 50 feet while I'm watching the compass the entire time. And we have like a float attached to us, so the instructors could see where we are.
Sure.
Okay. So our float is on the surface. Him and I are down 50
feet down.
Right. And we are supposed to swim to the buoy, and you have like less than an hour. You have to be there, and which you could do easily, right?
Sure.
We
Mile
have-
away,
We have
you
fins and
got
everything. We could
fins,
go pretty
right.
fast, right? So we're swimming, and we're watching our time too.
So when you're underwater, though, are you like literally locked with him? Like
he's
locking
got my
arms?
arm, like a married couple,
Okay.
and we're swimming, and all I'm supposed to do is look at the compass, right? And then we're swimming, and we know it's going to take us like 40 minutes.
And your compass is on your watch. Is this like a?
It's on my
special-
wrist. It's on my wrist. It's like a military like compass, and I'm looking at it, and you're supposed to just keep it pointed like right at it.
And you fix the location when you're
Right.
still above water.
Right.
Got
so
it.
and then when we send, I just got to keep looking at the compass and keep going in that direction.
Like we're going at
and we should
265 degrees.
we should
or whatever.
literally like swim right to the buoy, right?
Sure.
So and it's going to take us like 40 minutes. We got our twin.
Seems reasonable.
And so we're going, my buddy and I, and I'm like watching this thing like a freaking hawk. I don't
your
get to
job,
see
right?
any of the fish. I don't get to see any of the cool stuff in the water. I'm like looking at my compass the whole time, right? And we're swimming, and I'm looking at it, and 40 minutes comes, and we know like we could go a little bit over an hour without having to decompress, and we're swimming like another 5 or 10 minutes, and then my Navy buddy's looking at me in the water. We're underwater. We
This is
can't
the
talk
Marine,
to each other.
right?
He's the Marine,
Yeah.
and he's like, dude, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, dude, like, we're right on it. We must be swimming slow because this thing hasn't moved, right? And then we swim for a few more minutes, and he's like, dude, you could just tell his eyes are looking at me like, what the hell is going on? Like, we're getting close to an hour.
Right.
And I'm looking, and then I go like this to my compass. I like take my finger and I tap the face really hard.
Yep.
And as soon as I did that, there was an air bubble in it, and the thing was like, and it points a totally wrong direction. Like we've been swimming
How long
for
have you
like
been going wrong?
45, 50 minutes in the wrong direction, right?
In the middle of
the Gulf of Mexico.
Whoa.
And we both just started laughing our ass off underwater, like bubbles pouring out of our, because we're screwed. And we're like, so we surface after that, and we are so far off course. Like the whole time, we were literally swimming in the wrong direction the entire time. Yeah, it's hard.
So what happens then? Do they come get you?
Yeah, they came got
They're
us.
like
Called us
laughing,
dumbass, made
right?
us run like 5 miles after. But it was so far along in dive school, we didn't get kicked out.
So the lesson is,
I'm bad at fixing.
Tap your compass underwater.
Yeah, constantly.
I've never heard of that. An air bubble.
Yeah, air bubble.
So maybe that's what you need to do at Leon's.
So Aaron needs a compass. That's the moral of the story. He needs a compass.
Interesting. So by the way, after you did the swim, I saw you were kind of pretty, speaking of focused, you weren't screwing around. You basically got out of the water, got out of your wetsuit, and got on your bike and took off.
I was surprised people were lingering.
Me too.
It was weird. It was like a little party going on. I got out of the water. I was there to do a try.
I agree.
So I got out. I changed right out of my wetsuit.
People should have been transitioning
I
and
threw
getting
my
on
stuff
their bike.
on. I was the first one out on the bike. And I took off. I did 22 miles on my bike, and then I got home and I ran a 5K. And I did it under the same conditions. Now, granted, on race day, I have to do 6 miles, not a 5K.
And you have to do 24 on the bike.
24? Oh, I thought it was 22.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it was 2 miles short. But
Whatever.
I got
you
this.
got the bike.
I got this.
You feel confident now,
I'm gonna
including
finish.
with the swim.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
awesome.
good. And by the way, I don't know if the swim conditions could be much worse than they were on Sunday, because it was literally
I think
against
they
the
could.
current.
I
Well,
think
they
they
probably
could be
could,
windier.
but it was against the current 2/3 of the way.
It's going to be cool. You know, we had the fortune to have Leon from Leon's Triathlon out there on Sunday morning, and he was just, he's a great guy. Number one, he's been doing this for how long, Mayor? 30 years or so?
Since my dad was mayor.
And it's become quite an event, especially for disabled veterans and veterans in general. It's a huge event for those folks that come out and participate. So if you're not doing anything June 6th, come out. Leon's going to have all kinds of pro-veteran information, and people are going to be coming from all over the country to participate, including our own local LOCPOD veteran, Mayor Tom.
I think the notorious LMP might be mad at me. So
She's been very quiet.
Nope, everything's fine.
Oh, boy.
I don't like that. I don't like the way that sounded.
You're going to get a big hug and a kiss, Lindsay.
She's like, no, it's fine, Dad. It's fine. I love you, Dad.
Great.
I love you very much.
I feel exhilarated.
It's all right.
Exhilarated.
I'm in a great mood.
I know you are. And
Got 3 hours of
You're my
sleep.
pride and joy, baby. My firstborn.
Well,
Hey, guys.
very much.
Mayor, or John?
I ran into Westland yesterday.
Yeah.
He's talking a big game.
You know what?
Is he in it?
Yes.
Oh, he's in it. He's assembled a team of
Wow.
professional state
That's
athletes,
fine.
dude. It's
Yeah,
insane.
well, you know,
No.
if you're gonna, that's bull.
Yeah, but he's
bullshit.
doing it as a team. You
Yeah,
know?
I think their team's going to beat your team. That's the
Probably.
why?
He dissected Kevin's team
Yeah.
in great detail.
Yeah.
And like what he needs to do to beat you guys. And listen, I told him this. I'm not going to lie. I said Kevin he doesn't bike like Tom, but when he does, from what I hear, he can keep up with
Kevin's
the best
a great
of them.
biker.
That's what I told
Kevin
him.
and I are about the same on
Yeah,
bikes.
I agree.
I don't
say,
think
Kev?
Dave had
Kevin
that
does
information.
Peloton more than me. I think Kevin and I.
I think we're about the same. I think Tom's
On-
I'll give you this. Tom is really good at climbing. He's stronger
I
climber,
love
but
climbing.
I'm pretty good on distance and
Yeah.
just endurance.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
So-
I think Kevin and I, and our Strava records are similar. We're always pretty close to each other.
Yeah,
Kevin's a strong biker. Kevin's a better runner than me, for sure.
that's not saying much because we're both slow.
I don't even care if I'm
comparative.
fast running.
So we'll be all right. I mean, here's the thing,
But
John.
yeah, Weston's team's going to kick your ass.
I think so. He's got this like.
But what the hell? You're like giving up already? Team
Well,
Old
come
School.
on, Kevin.
Well, are
That's
we
bullshit.
doing this to
You know what I
compete,
heard? I
or-
heard.
Yeah,
I
we're
heard
doing this to
he's
compete,
got
Lindsay.
here,
Yes,
John.
we are.
He's got some dude with like a gazillion-dollar bike equipment.
You
that's
got a
gonna-
dude that freaking was one of the best high school swimmers on your team.
I agree.
Yeah,
We're gonna do
Aaron's a
fine on the
badass.
swim. I know what they're
Right?
going to do. They're going to try to kick
You're-
my ass at the bike, and then they're going to have
Oh,
Dave
so you
beat
admit
Phil.
you're the weak link on the team?
Yeah. Of yeah. Of the,
love this.
yeah.
Wait,
I
Aaron
think
was
so.
actually a swimmer?
Aaron
Oh,
was
God,
I
a
didn't
yeah,
know
he's a
that.
great
I thought he
swimmer.
was just swimming for the
No, he
swim.
swam at
this-
Gavitt. He was a really good swimmer.
This
Aaron-
is not the
Wow.
first time he's worn a Speedo.
Aaron is a damn good swimmer,
Yep.
actually.
Yep. That's
So-
why it's so easy for him to get back.
That's why I don't even care. He kicked my ass so bad. in
Like,
the
he's
water,
got good
and it didn't even
technique, John.
faze me. Aaron's a badass.
Aerodynamic.
Aaron's a badass in the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very
I
strong
kinda-
swimmer.
yeah.
I dominate him in every other aspect except for
Of
that.
life.
No, that is not true.
No,
Aaron's a
it's-
badass in a lot of ways.
Yes, he is.
But physically in sports, I would dominate him in
Really?
almost every aspect except
Except
for
swimming.
Yeah, I would just give him that one.
All right.
It's my show,
Aaron.
Aaron.
You've got one thing going
It's
for
my
you.
show, Aaron, and you're not a sponsor. So.
All right. I think he beat you in bags, too. Is that a sport,
he would
though?
kick
yeah.
Does
my
that
ass
even
in bags.
count?
He bar sports.
Bar sports, he's good.
Brett.
Oh, yeah.
Brett dominates the family. in
Oh,
bar
you know what? You're
sports.
right.
They do
He's a-
darts.
Dude.
Brett's real good.
Don't play bar sports with Brett. He's very good at it.
All right, good to know. We're learning all kinds of stuff. So, Mayor, before we wrap up real quick, I want you to, because I know you've got a big day with the press conference and everything. You're gonna have a big announcement about the fest on Friday.
On Friday's show, we're going to announce our Saturday band.
How excited are you?
It's amazing for me for a lot of reasons. Anybody that knows me as a kid will understand why this is an amazing announcement. It's 100% confirmed. We can't say anything till Friday.
No, don't say anything.
But
anything.
I think it's the biggest fest announcement we've ever made.
All right, it's going to be fun.
On Friday, we're going to announce
Yeah.
it. And then we're going to start selling tickets on Friday
Yes.
for that show.
Yeah, geared
and
up.
I have a feeling there's going to be some people that are about my age and 10 years older that are just going to
Stay the weekend.
stay the weekend.
Come in
and
Friday.
Saturday. Friday and Saturday show are very familiar bands, very familiar
Similar.
If you're
classic.
if
Yeah.
you like classic rock,
If you like classic rock, you're going to want to listen on Friday. I want to remind everybody, we hip hop was supposed to go that night. We mentioned on the last show that Snoop Dogg canceled that part of his tour because of a TV obligation.
the mayor's committed to bringing hip hop back to the fest.
We're talking about a hip hop concert now.
Yep.
For this summer, but anyway, I appreciate you guys. Kevin, you want to close out today, or
No, I like you
Okay.
closing out.
Hey,
Yes.
before we wrap up,
sure?
it
Mad
would be
Game
wrong
being
not to
spelled.
mention this comment from the one and only Aaron McDermott.
Uh-oh.
He said
Who's listening?
he's listening, and he said he dominated in a lot longer list than just swimming.
Yeah,
Wow.
Aaron's a good athlete. Aaron dominates me at basketball for sure. Him and I at golf, it's a great challenge. We both compete very well against each other in golf. I would kick his ass in running. I think he would admit that. He would kick my ass in swimming. Physically, I would dominate him like a big brother
Let's
should.
go through every sport, John. In wrestling,
Yeah.
I would dominate him.
I would
wrestling.
hope you were
How about
wrestling.
cricket? Who's going to win
Cricket.
that one?
Depends who
I'll
can
give him
bowl
cricket.
better.
I would kick his ass.
Tom's
in
better bowling.
Right. Anyway,
That was
Jay
a cricket
Vaz,
reference, not a
Yo,
bowling
the
reference.
Vez.
the Vez.
I'm not calling you J-Bone ever again. That's
just-
it. I'm putting it to rest.
Still like John.
Aaron
Thanks,
says
John.
you guys both suck at golf.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We both suck at golf. That's
Yeah.
a very
Chase
fair
is really
statement.
good at it, though. So
Really? I'll take Chase on.
I'll take Chase on too.
do it.
Notorious LMP.
I would actually watch golf if that happened.
So Notorious LMP. Thank you. With the
With the
PhD in BS. I love it. That's
And the
a great
multiple
one.
degrees.
The
and,
PhD in BS.
You know,
We
I
love
could
you.
go to school for years and I'll still just have
We-
a PhD in BS.
We love you, babe. I love you.
Thanks,
Cool.
Linz.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Kevin Smith, my great co-host. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for picking up the bill last night. Appreciate
all
it.
good. No worries.
I was glad it was an expensive one too. It wasn't
yeah,
just like a couple
get it out of the
drinks.
way. I'm good for 6 months.
Dude, you are good for a while. That was a good one. We hit you hard last night.
My pleasure.
And then, of course, the locomotive.
Thank you, Smith Sursick, for that, Steve.
Thanks,
you for-
Steve. Yeah. And then thanks to everybody for listening. If you liked what you heard today, we do this twice a week. So subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget to rate and all that stuff.
See you on Friday.
Bye, guys.